on Snap.
Hey!
I don't have
who
wine.
just showed up. So sorry for the tardiness, guys.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Welcome to the Real Estate Tea with Patricia Ann Young and Cassandra Marks. I just picked up the other Cassandra. She's here visiting. She's my doctor friend. There's two of us. We exist. We had lunch at the Vancouver waterfront, and I literally didn't keep track of time well. So we're here.
Well, that's okay. We're here, and we're here to entertain. See, that's real estate, though. This is live, and what happens.
Absolutely. It's just kind of how it goes. You know, you roll, you try to be there, and you try to manage and juggle appointments the best you can. And just sometimes things don't work out exactly how you want them to. It's not the best, but they don't always work out how you want them to.
You know what people always say when they always say, I wonder what it's like to be a realtor. We say, let somebody text you, 5 or 6, 7, 8 people text you at the same time over and over and over again. That's what it's like to be a realtor.
So I'm driving home from our lunch fast, right? Safely, but fast. I have one house that's trying to go under contract, and I have 3 buyers agents that are like all up in my grill, blowing me up. I have the seller calling me, and I'm like, I need to get home because our live show starts at 2:00. Like, you can have personal time. You can if you want, but it doesn't always work out. So
yeah, I think people.
Anyways, enough about that. Patricia, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patricia Young. My brand is Follow My Heels Home. I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I also have a team in Charlotte, North Carolina, which I'm building. That's a newer team. I've been in real estate for almost 18 years. Wow. I can't believe I've been in real estate that long, but I love it. I do both buy side, sale side. Like I said, my biggest thing was getting into real estate was, as goofy as it sounds, helping somebody buy, the American dream, right? Everybody wants a part of it. So that's why we're here, take care of our clients, and, everybody have fun in this crazy industry that we do.
Yeah. So tell me, you're not only licensed in Dallas, but you're also in North Carolina too, right?
Yep. We're in Charlotte. So we just started. I had started and COVID kind of slowed that down a little bit, but now we're up and going. I've had a couple closed over there, and I work with an awesome agent, and yeah, I go back and forth. So, if somebody needs something, obviously I'm not there every time, but I do have another agent. So it's awesome. But yeah, I love it. I love Charlotte. That'll probably be our next. We'll eventually move there. I mean, not anytime soon, but it will be great to live. We have a lot of family there, and we love North Carolina. So love Charlotte.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I'm Cassandra Marks, and I have technically been licensed for 4 years, almost 5. But I have been an investor and a house renovator for over 10 years at this point. I first started by buying my first townhome in 2010 in Minnesota after the crash. It was a foreclosure. It needed a lot of help because the people were pissed they lost it. So they ripped every random thing they could out of the house. And I spent a lot of money repairing it. So now my hubby and I, we've done, oh gosh, I don't even know how many houses, 7 maybe.
Yeah.
I did mine in Minnesota. There was a couple in Denver when we lived there, and then we moved to Portland, and there's been 2 houses in Portland, 2 in Washington. Yeah. So we're currently doing a 1901 farmhouse in Southwest Washington, just outside of Vancouver. And it's been a lot of fun. The pandemic slowed us down a little bit, but we've been doing a few other things as well. Love it. I love real estate. I spent 10 years in corporate America, and it was absolutely awful. They tell you to go to college, get a degree, and then go get a job, which.
Yep. Yeah.
And Cassandra and I were just talking about that at lunch about college debt and how they really don't tell anybody that, you should probably go to community college and or a trade school.
Guess what?
So I have $100,000.
Yeah, I just paid mine off.
I have $100,000. Bachelor of Science in marketing before social media existed.
Yep.
So I could tell you how to buy a bus bench and how, I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but like, yeah. So yeah, I do real estate here. I'm licensed in Oregon and Southwest Washington. I live in Southwest Washington, used to live in Southeast Portland, so I know the area really well. Specialize definitely in first-time home buyers, investors, and rural properties. I know quite a bit about house renovations as well. So if you want to be an investor and, you know, maybe flip some houses, or if you want to get a, you know, duplex, triplex, fourplex for your first home, it's a great investment for you to start your house journey on. I will say that we literally, everyone who knows I'm a realtor, and you know this too, Patricia, everyone who knows you're a realtor, when they see you, if they haven't seen you in a while, they're like, oh, hey, how's the market? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, but you got to talk about it. You have to. You got to tell me. Whoever else, you seriously, like, when you're a realtor, there's just like not talking about it.
I know we never get, I mean, ask our husbands. My husband will tell you, oh my God, can you just shut it down? I mean, who cares? I mean, and then like some of the clients, and we have crazy clients, and that's why we want to do this show, to just talk about, you know, life in general of being a realtor, to give people like the real insight of what being a realtor is like. And our husbands probably suffer the most. I mean, that's why when we're friends, I mean, Cassandra and I, how we got to know each other was during the pandemic off of Clubhouse. And we used to be in this room that met on Friday nights because nobody did anything.
Friday nights, every night, every night after we got done with,
and then went every night. Yeah, yeah. So that's how we got to.
It was called real estate therapy, and man, do you need therapy with this job? And it's not all bad. Like, it's funny too. Like, there's so many funny stories. Patricia and I were talking last night before the show, getting ready, and I was like, I'm so excited to tell one of the stories, one of my embarrassing stories from real estate, because I even have embarrassing stories for, like, not just for my clients, but for myself. And I don't know. Do we want to get into those right away?
You know, why not? Let's talk about it.
Okay. One that's not too bad. Embarrassing story for myself. So I was showing houses to some friends, and they were moving here from another state. They're moving to Washington. And we were looking at this house, and it's pandemic, got a mask on. And I'm like, oh, my nose is running. My nose never runs. Like, it rarely ever runs. And I'm like, oh, my nose is running. My nose is running. My nose is running. And then like, it was like, I felt like it down my face. And I was like, oh, what's going on? And I like we're in this house, and I pulled my mask off. I had a bloody nose, and it was running down my face underneath my mask. And I was like, and like, they were like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I just have a runny nose. And I'm like sitting here, like holding my mask, and like, I kind of taken it off, but it like had blood in it. I was trying not to get blood on the carpet.
Right.
Listening. And I'm like, okay. And so like, they helped me outside. So the next thing you know, I'm kneeling in the front yard in the grass while they go to their vehicle to go get tissues so that I could like stop the bleeding. So that was super exciting. Like, I don't ever get bloody noses, and that came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm glad it was you guys and not someone else. But
you know, there's some clients, stuff like that happens. You're like, oh God, please don't anything like, you know, there are clients that are okay with stuff like that. Then there's other clients who are like, God, please don't let anything go wrong today. Well,
it's just like a whole slew of things. And I'm sure you've had, I don't know, give me a good story, Patricia.
Okay. So a long time ago, I was showing a couple, and the way the house had to be set up a certain way because they homeschooled and they had 4 children. God bless her. Right. So we go into this one house, and normally we'd only see about 4 houses a day. That's all they could really do. So we walk in, and I always let them beeline, and, you know, I don't follow people around. I'm not a puppy. So, you know, I always went downstairs. They went upstairs because that's how is it laid out. So I'm in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I hear, oh my word. And I mean, the way her voice sounded, and I'm like, oh God. So I go beelining up the stairs. They're standing in the doorway of this room. So I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And they move to the side. 100% sex room. I'm talking masks, whips, chairs, not even in the closet, like along the wall. I'm like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know what to. I'm like, and these were very conservative people. Okay, okay. So they looked at me. She's white as a ghost, and I'm like, okay, well, this will conclude our showings for today. So they left. I called a listing agent and I go, have you been at this house? It'd been on the market like 3 days. And she's like, no, why? And I go, how far are you from here? She goes, like 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to wait for you. So meanwhile, I get off the phone and I'm like, well, I'm up here. Let me look around. It gets better. I go into the master bedroom, or I'm sorry, now the primary suite. At that time, it wasn't. I go into the primary bedroom, whole stage, stripper pole, mirrors on the ceiling in like the sitting area. And I'm like, what in the world? Thank God they didn't come in here. So I'm waiting and hear the door open. And I was like, oh, that was quick. I went over and the way the balcony was, I lean over and I'm like, seriously? I go sex room and now a stripper pole. And she looks up, she's like, excuse me? It was the seller. Needless to say, they did not. And I joked about it. I'm like, and she goes, what's wrong? And I go, well, I was getting ready to leave. Your agent's on your way. I go, you really can't have a sex room and you're strippable. And she goes, we can. I'm like, no, probably not. I go, so maybe put it in the description, let people know. Yeah. So there you go. There you
Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay.
I still
Okay.
talk to those clients, and you know what? To this day, it was like 8 years ago. To this day, we still laugh about it. Now she can laugh about it. She couldn't laugh about it then. She can laugh about it now.
Oh my gosh.
This is before the Christian Grey stuff, too. I mean, before.
Oh yeah, the 50 Shades of Grey
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
way before that. I was like, oh, oh my God. So yeah, what do? You just keep going on. I was like, this will conclude our showings for today. I already knew.
Thanks for coming out, you guys. And I'm gonna go this way.
I'm gonna go to that. Sorry,
And then
that room.
like it's one thing, like, I mean, okay, so there's this thing, it's called Keep Portland Weird. Yeah. And sometimes like a thing here is people get really weird shower curtains and they will have them in the pictures on the listing because people will remember the house. Yeah. Or like this one house, two of my friends sent to me. They're like, have you been to this house? And then they shoot me a picture of the mural above the bed. And it's literally somebody painted a mural of the owners of the home doing it above the bed, like on the wall. And they had it in the pictures. Like there's some weird stuff in Portland, like you'll see on listings. And I'm like, oh.
I think that would be funny because like at the bottom of the description, it's say, sellers are offering a painting allowance, but you don't say what it is. And if you walk in, you're like, oh, okay.
That's great marketing. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's like, so things like this, like when you walk into a listing appointment and there's things like this in a house, it's like no amount of training can get you ready for them because you're like, you got to have like the best poker face. Oh yeah, the house is beautiful. You're like, shit. And you're like, try not to laugh. And you're like, are you going to paint over that? Like, I want to know what conversation that listing agent had because this is literally, it was a mural. Like it had their faces. So it wasn't the new owners. It was literally the people that owned the house, like doing it doggy style above the bed.
Maybe the painter can go back in and put the other faces on. Maybe it's like that's what your housewarming gift is.
Oh my God. Like,
yeah, that's why people
like that type of stuff is part of the whole, like, I'm going to have a panic attack at 3 a.m. type of life of a realtor. Like, what time were you up this morning, Patricia? I think I was up about 4.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, I was up because I was thinking. I wrote a couple offers yesterday, and I just woke up thinking about everything. My mind was going. So probably about 5:15, and I went to bed probably at 1:30, 1:45. Yeah, I've had a lot of sleep. See, we don't sleep. I mean, that's the one thing too. And like I said, Cassandra and I have gotten to know each other, and we kind of work the same, which is ironic, but. We care about our clients. We care about what's going on. We want to make sure things are right. We worry. And sometimes we always say, sometimes we worry more than clients, but our job is to take care of the client. It's not about us, it's about the client. I think some realtors have forgotten that, but it's about the client. So we want to make sure everything's right. We got to make sure through the title companies, the lawyers' offices, the lending process. I mean, anything could happen. I think people think real estate's so easy, but there's so many. I always tell the buyers and the sellers, we have to get through one step at a time. There's this many steps. Start here, and we're gonna celebrate every small victory that we get. Like getting out of a 14-day option period that should have only been 5 days. Yeah, we're done with that today. How about that?
Yeah. I'm currently trying to set inspections up on a rural property, and the seller sleeps days, works nights, only wants 8 or 9 a.m. appointments. And won't agree to any of the septic companies that we have tried to set up, because they have had something with all of them. I'm like, well, you're going to have to pick one, or we're going to have to extend inspection, because all of them are out to next week already, and inspection period is over next Friday. So I'm sorry that you don't like Little Stinkies. I'm sorry that you don't like Septic King. I'm sorry that you don't like that. I'm like, who can we use then?
Wait a minute.
Who is okay for you?
Hold on a second. There's a company called Little Stinkers. That's a septic
Little
company?
Stinkies, yeah. It's a septic company.
That's flipping awesome. I like that.
But yeah, so like those emails and text messages started roughly about 6:45 this morning. Luckily I was up, but like they always, a lot of agents that I've talked to that have been in the business a really, really long time, they're like, you need to set boundaries. And I'm like, well, I don't.
That's hard. Them. That's hard. Yeah. I mean, people say that.
I don't have them because I care about my clients. And I'm sure you do too. Like, you just care and you want to take care of them. And
yeah. Well, and the thing is that in this business, I've been in for 18. So about 95% of my business is referral. It's either past client or agent to agent. So, I mean, I'm blessed to have that, because everything like I've had this year, I think besides a couple of just organic stuff I do, has been all referral. And the reason that it's like that is because we are available and we do text. I mean, I think too, if there's something going on, I text somebody and I say, I'm not going to be available like today. Like, I'm not going to be available from 4 to 5, just to let people know. But I think they get used to that, and that's what keeps people coming back. So it's, I look at it this way. We get into this industry. Yes. I mean, we have time off. We have more free time probably than the average person that works 9 to 5. But then we do have busy season, busy days, crazy. I mean, you have a Monday for 2 weeks in a row. Every day is like a Monday, but that's not always, but you got to keep going, and you got to just take care of everybody and make sure everybody is, okay. You don't want anybody to buy a house or sell a house and not be happy, so it's a lot of emotion. We deal with a lot of emotion constantly.
Yes. Buying and selling a house is probably one of the most emotional things that most people go through, because it is probably the largest item that anyone will buy or sell in their lifetime. And you are in charge of either helping them procure this large investment or helping them sell and get as much money out of this investment as possible.
That's true.
We do this day in, day out. We understand kind of where the market's at and like what the general standards, I guess is the best word to say is, but ultimately, it's the buyer and the seller's decision. And, I have a listing that I'm working. We have 3 offers on it. And, the seller didn't give me an okay to like share any information. And so I just go back and double check with agents like, hey, is this your buyer's highest and best offer? There's 3 offers on the table. Is this their highest and best? And I'd asked multiple agents that, and we were going to make a decision last night. A few things changed, and now we're making the decision. They're probably deciding right now, because I'm pretty sure my client has called me twice since we started this broadcast 20 minutes ago. But that's okay. I texted him. I said I will call him in a little bit. But then I've got, the buyer's agents going, well, what if I did my offer to this? Because they're not hearing from me. Now they're getting scared.
Right.
But as a seasoned agent, not to get scared in those times. So it's like, I've kind of been able to like learn where people's expertise and where their time lies, I guess. I think a couple of these agents are, they might be on the cusp of losing a client because they haven't won a bunch, because maybe they're not advising their client right, or because sometimes clients don't listen. When you have a list price here and pretty much you have multiple offers, you're going to assume that the price is here or here.
Right. It's either there or that. Right.
It's either at the list price or above a little bit. Right now, it's probably just a little bit because of the way the market is. And then there is this other agent that, they're down here, and they're like, and I told them, I was like, is this your highest and best? Like, that was just my question. Is this your highest and best? I need to know. And now they're blowing me up because they're not hearing from me. I just got a text message that they've gotten to here.
Yeah, that's what
I'm like, too late. I told you to do this last night. I told you to do this morning. My clients are deciding. Like,
that's what you learn. You learn to deal with that emotion too. Like when people say something, they're upset and it's at night. I'm like, okay, let's talk about it very first thing in the morning. And what normally happens, someone changed their mind, someone wanted to go up, so we learn that. That's why a seasoned agent will know how to control that. Like you said, it's ultimately up to the buyer and seller. We're there to, to give the advice, but they do rely on us to be able to, guide them and tell them like what to do, so we have to know what we're doing. So
when you're on the buyer side, like, okay, you got a listing agent coming back to you saying, is this your highest and best? Or saying something like, my client asked me about your closing costs in there. Do they need to be in there? Well, I bring that back to my client and I say, well, here's the deal. There's one more offer. I don't know too much about it. They can't tell me. They won't tell me. Some agents will tell you everything. Some agents won't. You can negotiate both ways. There's two ways to do negotiations in real estate. And it's either don't tell them anything or you tell everybody the same thing.
Same thing.
Like you can tell them everything and you just have to tell everybody the same thing because you have to be fair.
You got to be fair.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of agents, I don't want to call people out, but I feel like sometimes I've been used.
Yeah.
To like they're not sharing with everybody.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Petra's like, I want to be in live stream. Well, and the thing is, and like you said, not calling people up, but I mean, and we've talked. I mean, we talk all the time. But the last 2 weeks, it's, here's the thing. We were all new at one time. Every agent was new. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are listing a house, if you are working with a buyer, you better have a mentor. You better have somebody that is guiding you, because otherwise, like this option period extension 3 times, this should never even have been here. We shouldn't have gotten here. So everybody's revved up. People don't feel good. It gives them that sick feeling. You're stressed out. They're stressed out. There's no reason it needs to be. Now, look, not everything is perfect, but you got to know how to, communication fixes everything. And the thing is though, with somebody who's new, they need to have a mentor, because you got to guide those sellers, especially here in the state of Texas, we're a disclosure state. You have got to disclose. You're not telling them what to do. You got to say, hey, did you, you got to prompt sometimes with questions. Did you have an inspection? Have you ever had any water damage? Did you ever file a claim? I mean, you got to prolong, push them along. But yeah, I mean, and it's hard because us being seasons, it becomes frustrating, because I feel like then it looks like we're not doing what we need to do. So, and then you try to end up working on both sides, and you're, that's when you're copying and screenshooting emails and forwarding everything in the text messages, because you're like, this is incompetence on the other side. We'll get through it. So,
yeah. But, I'll say, like, for how many stressful evenings I've had, or how many stressful situations in real estate I've had, it's always better when the broker that you're working side by side with, whether it's the listing broker or the buyer broker, they're great. And they communicate, and you just have a line of communication, and we both understand that this is not about us. It's about our clients. We take the emotions out of it. We help our clients work their emotions, because you got to do it. You have to help people settle their emotions.
Yes.
Because yes, it is a big purchase. I understand it's very stressful. My job is to try to not make it stressful. And like, I typically don't tell my clients, unless they're like really good friends of mine, what goes on in the background.
Oh no. A lot of times you can't tell them, they'll lose their minds.
Exactly. And that's why, like, I'll sit there and I'll be like, ah, da, 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 and then I get off the phone and I'm like, like
Yeah.
you just get frustrated. And then I call Patricia, and then we have like a 45-minute bitch
Which
session
session?
about something real estate because nobody else understands. My husband doesn't want to listen to it. Her husband doesn't want to
Nope.
listen to it. So we're just like, oh my God.
Or I just go in my closet and I cry. I cry a lot in my closet. Just FYI. That's okay.
I go out and dig flowers, but that's
Yeah, see, I
same
cry.
difference,
That's
right?
right. We all have to express. Thank God I'm not an alcoholic, but at this point I probably would be, but that's okay. But that's why you get by with a little help from your friends.
Little help from your friends. It's always good to have another real estate friend because they get it, they understand. But like ultimately the thing is like after spending 10 years in corporate America and doing this, I wouldn't choose anything else.
Oh God,
like
no.
no matter what comes up, I would not choose another career at this point. It has nothing to do with like everyone's like, oh, the money. Oh, it's really not as glamorous.
Yeah,
and as
people
awesome
think we
as you
make a
think.
lot of money. Yeah, they'd be surprised if they saw everything we paid for and had to pay for. They'd be really surprised.
We're a small business. You know,
Yeah.
you've got insurance, you've got to pay your brokerage, you've got to pay for your medical insurance, you've got to pay for your marketing, you've got to pay for your business cards, you got to pay for. I mean, there's just like so like
Supras.
they always say like this is how much. Yeah, this is how much I get in commission. Like this is what my seller thinks I get. This is like this is how much I pay the buyer's agent.
Yep.
Then this is how much I get after I do my marketing. This is how much after I pay my brokerage.
And that's it. And then I got to pay, and you only get half because you got to pay taxes.
Yeah, then there's taxes. So then you got like about half of 5 fingers. Like it's great. And I love what I do because I love helping people buy a house, but like some days I'm just like, oh, is this worth it? But it is 100% worth it because helping people invest in themselves is like such a rewarding part of my life.
I'm telling you, it's that when you get to that closing table and the look on their face, whether it be they're moving on or they're moving up or they move down, they downsize, they can move towards their family. I mean, that's why I always try, it's that script of that pain and pleasure. And that's why a lot of times when we talk to these clients, whether it be on the buy side or the sales side, we always say, you know, listen, I know this is a little stinging right now, but I want you to think 3 months from now, is this really going to matter? You know, I mean, and that's why we have to advise and we do like we're therapists, you know, and we want to make sure it is fair, but that they understand. But like you said, it's that communication and that line of, you know, from the time we sit down at the table to the time we close, you know, you're going to know exactly what's going on. I'm going to tell you, you know, good, bad, ugly. We have to know it all, you know, and that's how we all get through it together. So, yeah.
Yeah. So this has been a wonderfully enlightening first show here. We're running out of time on our 30 minutes. I hope y'all have laughed a little bit. I'm not nearly as deep into the wine as I planned on it. But I'm gonna be plenty deep in wine here shortly after I call my client back and see which offer he wants to accept on his property.
And I got to go get an offer. But what we're going to do is we're going to do this twice a month. So our next one's going to be August 29th. And we're looking for stories. So like I said, we'll keep everything confidential in terms of we don't want names. Right? We just want funny stories because we want people to realize a kind of like an in-depth look to what is real estate really like. So we're going to talk about stories, things that happen with us, and just in general. You know, we're going to make
Should we do a day in a life like next?
We should a day in a life. Like, yeah.
Like so full day. Like this is when I get up and then like, okay, we'll try to do something like that. We'll definitely have some more funny stories. I have plenty of more embarrassing stories that go with the bloody nose.
Yeah.
I just had one last week when I was showing some condos that I am very excited to share because I literally.
Oh, I know.
So anyways, well, I'm Cassandra Marks with Real Broker in Oregon and Southwest Washington, and she is Patricia Ann Young with Follow My Heels Home and Real Broker in Dallas and Charlotte, North Carolina. We thank every single person who has contributed today. And any of the stories that we've heard so far, we're really excited to keep sharing them. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spending 30 minutes with us. And we will see you on the 29th.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.